In this video, we're going to take a look at September 4th service, Magnify Church. The live stream audio, we're just going to do a quick go over of that. First of all, there was a little bit of complications in the way things saved and transferred, so we're actually going to take a listen to this service on YouTube. One thing to take note of with any YouTube stream is they do average it out to negative 14 LUFS, I believe is the setting for YouTube. So it will be turned down a little bit, but the overall level should, or the overall mix should be about the same. So we'll take a listen to that real quick. There's a couple things I want to specifically take a listen to. So
we sing to the God who saves. We sing to the God who always makes a way. 'Cause he hung up on that cross, then he rose up from that grave. My God, still rolling stones away. Yeah. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house.
So specifically when we hit big moments, we are, I believe, running pretty hard into our main compressors on our full mix channel. I think this is something I've mentioned before, but just keep an eye on it when you are mixing. If you're pushing things and your volume isn't really going anywhere, take a look at your master compressor. Make sure you're not pushing into that too hard. Let's go ahead and take a look at a mix here that I've kind of put together, but it's got all of the same plugins on the full mix fader here. So we usually use the Elysia Alpha Master and I believe the Shadow Hills Class A on our master bus for our band. What you want to see out of this or these two units is no more than a total of like 3 or 4 dB of compression consistently. Even that's kind of maybe pushing it a little bit. This headroom knob down here on the Shadow Hills, we can kind of simulate what that's going to sound like if we push it too hard. So I'm going to just play a section here.
In this place, and we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. And we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is sure.
So ignoring the obvious volume differences there, you can kind of hear when I pull that headroom knob down and it starts compressing really hard on the channel, you can hear everything begin to flatten almost. Just the idea of those dynamics are getting squished really hard. And one of the things that results in is bass, kick, other heavy low-end instruments actually pushing the volume level of your vocals and the rest of your mix down whenever they hit hard. So you get to a chorus or something like that, and all of a sudden your mix kind of flattens a little bit and kind of loses some of its life. So let's just take a listen to that again.
'Cause he hung up on that cross, then he rose up from that grave. My God, still rolling stones away. Yeah. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today.
So you can hear bass and kick when they hit. You can hear vocals drop down in the mix a little bit, which is not really something we want to be super apparent, at least not to that level. But we do want to hit those compressors a little bit because they are going to help glue the mix together, but we don't want to hit them super hard. The one other thing I wanted to mention on this particular mix was I think somehow or other Joel's voice is just a little more telling of the auto-tune. So obviously we are tuning vocals. Maybe when Joel comes and is leading, we may want to just back the auto-tune off a little bit, specifically on the speed control, just so that it's not quite as obvious and just kind of let him float a little bit more than maybe some of the others who aren't as obvious. The final thing I wanted to mention on this last song is I could have used a little bit more saxophone, which can be a tough instrument to put in a mix. And I think during this particular first service, she was struggling with her in-ear, so she might not have been playing as hard as we might have expected in rehearsals and stuff. But then the one thing I wanted to mention just about saxophone is it can be really beneficial for saxophone to do some pretty aggressive high-pass, low-pass filters, just courtesy of the timbre of the instrument. You can get away with some pretty aggressive cuts on there to help get rid of some of that pretty nasty background noise. So let's take a listen to what I did here for saxophone. So if we bypass this, so that can really help clean it up. And the B3 lav on the bell of the saxophone works out super well. It's way cleaner than I thought it would be. But so we should be able to get plenty of saxophone there to feature her on the appropriate moments. Thanks for checking out this video. Come back next week for another one, hopefully, if I can keep my act together.